Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. I'm not very good at that.
Get to the chopper, it's going to blow.
Marty, what does yours sound like?
No, I'm not doing mine.
No, that's probably a good move.
Wise.
Speaking of good moves, you've tuned into the Hammerbarn Project. I think that's a good move.
Very smart.
This episode of the Hammerbarn Project is called Chuppy Dogs.
My name's Brendan.
This is Frank.
And who we got over there?
It's a smarty.
It's Marty. Everyone, you know by now. Bluey, if it's not the number one show on television, what the heck is, I ask of you? We're just a couple of lads who really love talking about it, even when we're not recording a podcast. But if we're going to do it anyway, well, let's record a podcast.
No, why not?
So, what have we come to discuss today?
This episode of the Hammerbarn Project is called Helicopter.
I did a bit of clever foreshadowing in the intro. See if you can pick it upon re-listening.
Oh, it's because Arnold Schwarzenegger played Mr. Freeze in Batman. Got it.
Yep.
Is that from that movie?
No, it's really
It's Commando, isn't it?
I don't even know. I haven't
know
seen
the meme.
Commando. I don't even think I've seen Batman Forever.
Batman Forever?
Is it Forever?
No.
Is it,
Arnie
Robin?
is in Batman and Robin, which
Okay,
is
gotcha.
generally regarded as the worst, but every line that Arnie has in it is an ice-based pun.
I'm not really into puns.
Sorry, what?
Don't make me say it again.
A podcast is a form of contractual document, you know, Brendan. You're going to have to stick by that.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of a contractual obligation, Marty, I believe you're obliged to give us the bare bones of this episode, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So really, in this episode, it's about a helicopter becoming the vehicle to explore the idea of control. Bluey finding out that she's not going to get to do the fun thing after school, not go to Honey's, but through playing a game of helicopter and playing with the other kids, maybe not controlling everything might be more fun and you can just roll with stuff.
Nice.
I love the fact that the helicopter, which is kind of where 80% of this episode takes place, is literally a stump with a tiny little sapling growing out the side of it. I do have to question, though, is Bandit responsible for that stump? Is this a stump fest that was sort of interrupted?
Newspaper, no.
Okay,
No.
sorry, I'll stop.
Bad fact.
In fact, mentioning the stump, before we get too, deep into the weeds, do you think that maybe that's in itself, the stage upon which this episode is set?
Ooh.
Do you think it is a visual example of when something had to roll with it? Like, this tree was chopped down, it didn't expect to be, and the actual steering wheel is a little sapling coming up, just kind
You know
of...
what you said about puns, Brendan? and rolling with it?
No, I was actually
Doesn't do puns.
going somewhere very deep and distinguished.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not used to that with you, so...
Yeah, fair
It's
enough.
slightly out of character.
Maybe that's me reading too far into it, that where they're sitting could actually, be a salute to overcoming things that you weren't planning on and just roll with it and just do what you can. And the sapling is coming up from something that looks like it's been through some experiences it didn't really expect. I would accuse myself of overanalyzing that, but at this stage, I wouldn't put anything past the creators of the show.
Nah, stump.
I hadn't thought about it as a stage, because it's basically, cameras pretty much held. They come in from stage right or stage left or where it is and climb up or fall down for a very long time after leaving shot, despite the fact that we know that the ground is directly below.
Yeah, and once again, it just blurs that line between reality and play.
Yeah.
And you say it time and time again, Marty, and you're spot on. Any character could at any point just be completely absorbed into the play and into the universe that they're imagining, or they could just be completely outside of it. And they just have a really fun way of blurring that.
And it is just the fact that anything beyond that frame, your imagination's doing the work at that point.
That it works because this tree stump is on top of a hill, and so where the camera sits, all you're seeing is sky behind them. So you can imagine if this tree stump was lower down and there's other trees around, then you go, okay, they're just playing on a stump. But because all you see is sky, like you would in a helicopter, you go, yeah, of course they're flying.
And how cool does the sky look? It's so minimalist, but the way that they've got the single vanishing point of all the clouds, and it just makes it feel like, the center of their world at the moment. And that's what it is like to play in a pretend helicopter as a kid. That's all that matters right then and there.
Yep. Can we backtrack a little bit? The start of this episode, and Chili's driving, and they're, all right, this is the plan. We're going to do, Bingo's going to go to gymnastics, and then we're going to drop Bluey at Honey's place, and then Chili is going to, I forget where she's got somewhere to be.
Watercolors.
That's it. Bandit ruins all that by ringing up. He's on speaker, and he's like, sorry, I've got to fly out to Longreach. I'm going to have to drop Bingo here. I'll miss my watercolors, and Bluey, you don't get to do the thing you wanted to do. And she's like, oh, not hooray. Which, honestly, that's a meme everywhere. That's a great gif. Followed swiftly by the fact that we forget Bandit is on the call, still hearing this whole rearranging of plans, and goes, well, good luck with that. Bye.
Classic parent move.
Oh, man, that voice acting is just boom. Oh, speaking of voice acting, as they drop Bluey off at school, and then
I was going to say
leaving,
that bit.
Sorry,
It's so good.
Yeah, you do it, Frank.
It's my favourite part of the episode, honestly. Bingo's the one whose plans didn't get mucked around, and as they're leaving, she's like, goodbye.
But I love that because Bingo is Bingo, and obviously a bit younger, has a real deep understanding of her world, but has yet to grow into understanding Bluey's outlook. Or I don't know, but I guess this is all to say somehow that doesn't seem malicious what she's doing.
It's not malicious at all.
Like if she were older and just go goodbye, it's kind of like you're having
She's
to go, but
rubbing
you
it in
know
the face,
she's just completely oblivious to the fact that somebody has been affected, and she's just putting on a silly voice.
Yep, this is how I say goodbye now. Like,
and I think from the point of view of the construction of the episode, they didn't need that at all.
Yeah.
You could have a sequence where it's like, sorry, Bluey, you don't get this thing, and Mum walks off.
Yeah.
And just like the creators never letting an opportunity go by to have something amusing happen.
Absolutely, man. Bluey, every episode, the whole series from start to finish is just a beautiful tapestry of things that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
But just make that world
Make
the
it a
best.
world, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the world, this is another episode that features a whole lot of Bluey and friends, shall we say. We get Snickers, we get our old favourite Rusty, and is it Jack, his little
Jack,
mate?
the Jack Russell, yeah.
Now, Winton or Quinton, we still haven't...
We'll sell it right now. Hold on, I'll just quickly ring Jade, my niece Jade.
Okay, she knows.
Hello.
Jade, what kind of dog is it, Frank? Little French bulldog?
Ooh, a dog question. Fire away.
Is it Winton or Quinton? You know, his mum doesn't live with his dad.
Oh, the very obedient breed from Bluey. Yes, it's definitely Winton with a W, and I believe he's actually an English bulldog.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the name you thought?
Winton, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, gentlemen, but Uncle Brendan is right this time.
Well, that's disappointing. I guess you just have to roll with it, kids. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Thanks, Jade.
Happy to help.
Who else do we see? We see Chloe, of course.
We do.
We see Mackenzie.
I can't pick a favourite of Bluey's friends, but do you guys have a favourite in this episode, like a favourite interaction?
You're right. It's tough to pick your favourite of Bluey's friends overall. But for this episode, I like Mackenzie because he's just a dog being a dog. And that's what a dog in a helicopter would do. Swing around.
That is the most dog-like.
I love it when they change from being people who happen to look like dogs to doing dog things. The transition is seamless, and it's just great self-awareness and writing. We can see Indy and the Terriers is the other one. I'm a big fan of the Terriers.
That's where it really comes to the crunch, isn't it,
Yeah.
with Indy? Because up until then, there have been little variations on Bluey's vision.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest one where she really adjusts and goes with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it is that progressive breakdown. Because, like, first of all, she comes in and she says, no, I decide what we're going to do and where we're going to go. And then progressive is like, okay, I'm going to drive you, but you can tell me where are we going to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to let you fly the helicopter.
Yeah, that's a good observation.
But yeah, there's a big shift with that one in the fact that it, concession that it becomes a plane. What's your favourite character interaction in this episode?
It's got to be Winton. It's got to be the first one.
Who? I don't know who you're talking about.
Winton.
Yeah,
It's got to be because just that moment. Hold me back if I go on too much of a tangent.
I'll just get this ready.
Just get this ready.
That's different, though. That's when we're talking about another episode. I think we need a different one, which is, no, Brendan, go to your basket. Brendan, go to your basket.
Yes, that's a keeper.
All right. I won't go to my basket just yet, but I'll be very ready to be told to go to my basket. But no, I love Winton. when that moment, where does your dad live? I don't know. Winton, I know he doesn't live with my mom. Like, this show, time and time again, talks about, family issues that maybe once upon a time were swept under the rug, or
certainly for a kid's show.
For a kid's show. I mean, it wasn't 50 years ago where if a poor lady wanted a divorce from her husband, she would have been ostracized from a community, and to have these things as part of a kids show in such a way, and it's through the kids' lens. It's not
portrayed as a negative.
No,
like,
exactly,
poor
man.
Winton.
It's just that's how it is, and Winton doesn't seem to care.
He says hi to Dad when he lands, doesn't he? Like, hi, Dad.
Winton gets to do backstroke in the deep end. For Winton, it is just how it is. It's so cute. It's so adorable to see a kid. For something that was made an issue for society, and it's an example of when you just present it to kids as like not an issue, they're like, okay, kids are the best.
One of the things I ended up thinking about with this, it's the stump that becomes multiple things. You ever seen that sequence with Robin Williams and the stick with Elmo? Oh, okay.
Sorry.
There's this brilliant sketch from Sesame Street wherein Robin Williams is showing you all the different things you can do with a stick, because Elmo's got a stick. So it's just like the multifaceted, and he's doing all his wonderful performance aspects. He's being, a band thing. He's being a drill sergeant. He's doing all these sorts of... The fact that this thing can be multiple different things. But I wonder how much Jim Henson and the wider set of Jim Henson creations is an inspiration for Bluey. Because when I get in that mode, I'm like, there's sort of a Muppet Babies feeling to the school.
Yeah, good call.
You've got all these kids interacting, and just back on Brendan's sort of thought, Jim Henson stuff, Sesame Street, has always been fantastically progressive in terms of teaching kids and being real to the real world. And, they introduce different characters to deal with different issues.
Sesame Street has been the gold standard in that for decades before.
Yeah, I think it's not something we've mentioned yet. Mentally, I'm going to be going back there now and just thinking how much, we can have Bluey now because Sesame Street did what it has done over the past 30, 40, how many years? God, a lot of years.
Hold on, I'll just quickly find out how many years.
Hello?
Hi, Ashley.
Oh, hi, Uncle Brendan.
Oh, Ashley, how many years has Sesame Street been running?
Oh, well, it premiered on the 10th of November, 1969. So, what's that? Almost 52 years.
Wow.
Really that long?
Over 4,500 episodes.
Whew. Thanks, Ash.
You got it.
Thanks, mate. There you go. I didn't know.
You have some very knowledgeable training.
They're the best. They're the best.
My favorite, I don't know, I really like Honey's, because it's just like, I'm going to stay between the flags next time, which is a really...
Yeah, that's really
it's
cute.
It's a beautiful way to just have some ancillary learning.
Yeah.
This is the sort of stuff, because I work in the sphere of learning and how do you teach people stuff potentially when they're distracted by other things or whatever. Just to put that seed in like, oh, Bluey talked about it, I guess it is important.
Yeah, and it speaks to your thing again of the creators never missing an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a moment that could have been nothing, but it's incredibly rich just because of that additional thought. But the other one is, I think it's Chloe who does this sequence with the
whale and the phone.
The whale.
Yeah.
The way that photos get taken, which is something that you always and you have a selfie at the end.
That bit does make me laugh.
For our generation, we have to get over the fact that taking a photo is holding something and pressing it with your thumb as opposed to
click
holding
and
something
wind
square in front of your eyes. But just this stuff could be happening outside the frame and you're just imagining it and it's there. That's super fun.
Hey, a couple of doggy treats I've got
Oh,
for us.
yes,
and they do come from our good friend Snickers.
Oh, man.
Who only features very briefly in the sort of montage of characters in this episode, but he is playing the intrepid reporter reporting from the skies, looking at the crash below, and he's obviously a fan of our show because he references Hammer Bar.
He does indeed.
Brought to you by Hammer Bar. It's like a little sponsored clip for the news. But the bit I love the best is that he says, Channel K9 News. After he said it, I went, oh, that's so clever. Like, Snickers is just that little enthusiastic kid who always wears the same cap, and he is a delight.
The old Legionnaires hat. Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Very sensible choice.
It's a sensible choice. Is that an Australianism? Because I know I always had to wear one of those at primary school. Was it the same for you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Definitely
I wonder
the
if
hat
it's
of
an
choice.
international thing or it's just Australia, because we have that gigantic hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Thanks, 1980s hairspray. Now I had to wear this ridiculous hat for the entirety of my childhood.
Fluorocarbon. I reckon Snickers is dangerously close to becoming my favourite of Bluey's friends. And I think the thing that really did it wasn't on this episode, but it's not. It's not a newspaper moment because it's actually from outside research and learning. It's not another episode. I did look up some of the characters on the Bluey wiki, and
you have been doing your research, haven't you?
And I might tell this story because it made me laugh when I found it, and it's an episode with lots of Bluey's friends, so it's probably fitting. I found Lucky, and Lucky is just always on the move. It says Bluey's next door neighbor, adventurous, always on the move, and Judo's synopsis for her character was Bluey's other neighbor, which I'm sure we'll get to episodes with Judo, and we can all talk about how we feel about Judo. But Snickers' little character bio was not the most athletic, but what was it? It was loves science. No.
Do you want to call another friend?
Yeah, I better quickly ask. I know he'll know.
Hello,
Owen.
hi Uncle Brendan.
What was the character bio for Snickers again? I told you the other day.
Not the most physical kid, but loves machines, atoms, and the stars.
Yeah, that's it. Isn't that nice? And the moment I heard that, I just thought, Snickers,
perfect.
You're my bro.
Also, Uncle Brendan, if this happens to be about his appearance in the helicopter episode, and you make an Arnie reference, just remember it's from the 1987 cult classic film Predator. I thought I'd mention it just in case, because if you quote things willy-nilly without citing the correct primary source, no one will ever take you seriously.
The other shout out I have to give is our good friend Rusty and Jack, looking like a scene out of some sort of war-torn movie. And the interaction itself is quite funny, but I love the music. Up till this point, the music has been very, dare I say it, Marty, but Super Mario-esque, where it's
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Very sort of left, right,
Poppy.
left, right, repeat. Yep. And then Rusty gets on there. He's carrying Jack over his shoulder, and it just goes into this rock guitar. Do 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 do. You get the camera shake when the rocket hits them, and we're going down.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like a Jack Ryan.
It's so good.
As well with the music, I think the other bit that gets me is Winton's about to get off. He's just like, I'm a bit bored. I'm going to get off now. And he slides off, and we're like, oh no! And then the music jumps in. You're like,
punch
you can't get off. Yeah.
Crash zoom sort of stuff.
When Bluey swerves to avoid the imaginary incoming missile.
Yes.
And the whole camera just...
And what I love
yeah, you tell it.
I was going to say, and you see Rusty sort of swoosh past, almost like it's gone past his nose, flings his hand out behind him, and then what I really love even more is little Jack, who at this point is the prone soldier lying down. You actually see him when the missile swings past and they all veer to left. He sort of arches on the side really awkwardly in the same direction as everybody else.
An ideal soldier now, but there was a time when he wasn't in the army yet. And I don't care. You can hit me with that newspaper all you like.
Brendan, go to your basket.
That might be my favourite episode, and we'll have to talk about it one day because I love it so much.
And special shout out to my favourite terriers as kangies.
Yeah, kangies.
What I love is they're referred to as kangies, not kangaroos. And then Bluey's like, that's actually pretty fun. I might be a kangie. Boing, boing. The sound effects these kids use.
I love the sad boing.
Yes, Marty.
Because that's a great pairing for the not hooray. Yeah. Sorry, there's not enough room for you, kangies. Boing. Disappointed boy.
And I tell you, I'll never listen to the sounds of a real live helicopter without going chop, 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 chop,
and the land. Every time, chop, 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 land.
Every time I get on a plane now, I'm going to be doing that when I get on land. We've forgotten one. Do you know where she gets the idea of playing helicopter?
Yeah, you know what? You know when I noticed that? About 45 minutes ago.
When you watched it here?
When Frank put it on.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never seen that opening shot.
And I just love that idea that that's just the germ.
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
She saw this, then they had the conversation, then she just started, this has obviously been in her head. So there's some internal monologue that we're not privy to.
Absolutely, man. And because that whole first scene in the car with the phone call from Bandit is so hilarious.
Yeah.
I think I was always so glued to that I didn't notice
that the chopper's in the opening.
Just for less than 3 seconds. There's just the chopper in the opening shot and Bluey's looking at it out the car window.
Good place to end. at the very start.
That's how we roll.
That's how we
Just
roll.
gotta roll with
It's
it.
like the rotors of a helicopter going around and around.
just coming
They
back
always
around.
Around
Back
and go.
around.
Chop.
Oh, Marty, we have to have a conversation after this about gyroscopic precession and how an actual...
We could not do that.
Well, you can have that conversation, but listeners, don't fear. I will press stop. That we will not be recording that.
This Martin, he acts all, tough and uninterested on
Yeah,
when
I'm
we're
desperate to
recording,
hear
but-
about this thing. Please press stop.
Well, folks, I'll be somewhere else momentarily talking to Marty about gyroscopic precession and how you actually have to adjust the angle of the rotors. But that's by the by. I will be back with these two gentlemen, Frank
That's me.
and Marty.
Yes.
You said that as though it was the start,
As
of,
the
an
start of
episode.
the episode.
Just like the rotors of
around,
your helicopter
around.
was coming back around. No, thanks for joining me, lads.
No worries.
Thanks, mate.
And thank you all for joining us. Please join us next time. Aisle 300.
Left of the fake grass.
If you've hit a flamingo, you've gone too far.